Okay, hey there, YouTube. Looks like this is working. So, I've been saying this. I've been trying to get into a game of Dominions 5 multiplayer, and I seem to have found a game. I haven't actually joined it yet properly, or it hasn't started or anything like that. Um, yeah, the way the multiplayer works for this game is absolutely bonkers. But I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing for like my pretender deity for this. It's a middle-age game, which I was hoping I could find a late-age one, but I wasn't too sure about that. I've already sort of committed to playing Shinuyama. It's the one that I've sort of got a little bit familiar with, and it's a noob game, so it's for people who don't know what they're doing, which is pretty much where I fit. I think that's fair to say. So unlike Jomon, Shinuyama is a very, very different nation. Their sacreds are kind of janky. Basically, you've got like just this little dude here, who's a very inexpensive, very easy to sort of mass sort of sacred that you can use for a couple of different things. They're not very strong. They're not very good at anything, but they're cheap, and you can sort of get lots of them pretty easily. And then there's this big guy here who's really, really good at a lot of different things. The main problem with these guys is that they're old, which is reducing a ton of their stats really, really, really badly. Now, you can sort of fix that, and there's a couple different ways of going about that. But if you want to use these guys extensively for their really sort of potent abilities, instead of just as sort of distant casters, then you're going to have to give these guys a couple boosts. So that's going to be what your bless is aimed towards, because you have no sacred troops, and there's not really any summonable sacred troops either. So you're really just sort of stuck with thinking about your bless in terms of the Bakemono Sorcerer and the Bakemono Shaman. And you could potentially get some gear or something that might get you some stuff, but yeah, it's not the most sacred dependent nation out there. So you're definitely not going to be looking at anything like up here. You could definitely go for stuff that's down here and just go pure scales and have like an awake pretender going pure scales. You've got access to this like Bakemono country, which is an interesting sort of leader that you could potentially get because he's not that expensive. He's actually got relatively decent melee stats that you could sort of kit him out so that he could go out and beat things up a little bit effectively. I don't think that this is my favorite option necessarily, although it's got the really big advantage that he has immortality. The reason I don't necessarily like him tremendously is that you're probably going to want either to get access to unaging over here or recuperation. And there's two different sort of philosophies behind that if you are going sort of the route that I'm going here. If you want to use those Dai Bakemono as thugs and having access to them as thugs or super combatants or something like that is something I think is really valuable for this faction. You need to be able to get through the fact that they're sort of like got that old age penalty. And one way to do it is you give them Twiceborn, which is a spell that you can sort of cast. This makes it so that they sort of, if they die, come back as an undead version of themselves, which eliminates the old age penalty. And the reason that this is a slightly awkward thing if you don't take recuperation is that in the process of dying, they often take a bunch of afflictions. So you're bringing them back in without old age, but yeah, they've lost like an arm and an eye or something like that. So you can just drown them if you've got the option for that. Sometimes you don't. And honestly, like if you're running them around, they're going to take a bunch of afflictions while they're undead anyway. So I think that recuperation is a good way to get rid of those things. The other way that you do it is you take this unaging thing. You keep them alive. You don't worry about deliberately twice-borning them. You probably still cast twice-born, but you aren't as worried about that happening. You just sort of have that as an available thing so that if they do get killed, you can sort of have that going. But neither of these really matter for this guy. Neither you're spending a lot for something that this guy's not going to gain any benefit from because he's capable of getting rid of his afflictions by dying because he's got immortality. So you just run him in somewhere, he dies, he just comes back. You can use this, though, because he's not necessarily going to die, and you might just want to keep pushing with him without him having to go for that 3-month respawn time. But that is a fairly powerful effect there. You could also like load this guy up pretty heavily with just like attack boosts here. We could go something like this, and then we could give him like a pike or something like that. And he's going to have absolutely crazy attack skill by the end of this. Let's just hit OK here. Should be over here. So his attack skill doesn't look like it's actually been modified by this. I guess we don't see that until we actually get into a game, unfortunately. But he should be getting the benefits of this from whatever. That should give him like 20 attack skill. But yeah, I can't actually view that here. I guess this is contingent. He has to be in his own dominion for that to actually show up. But yeah, so you could do something like that. I just think that he's got some like weird like anti-synergy and stuff like that. Unless you're going for you're not going for bless at all. But at that point in time, it's going to be a little bit different. You're probably going to take somebody that's just there for utility. Like you want to take a Great Sage, or you want to take like a Master Lich, or actually a Ghost King is the one that's got the summon there. So any of those sort of things would be what you want to take there. Now, the other thing is that this is a faction that I think does really well in scales. So if you want to play this faction, I think that you want to go like high scales here. You can get rid of some of them, but like if you could go for like just all the way across the board high stuff here, that would actually be really, really strong. You could even go imprisoned if you're doing this, because your pretender doesn't matter that much, your bless doesn't matter that much, you've got no magic on your pretender, stuff like that. So you go for that little bit of utility for when they do pop in there. And I actually think for that sort of thing, the Great Enchantress is a little bit better. Get a little bit of Dominion spread so you can get those scales out there, but you know, at this point in time, you're just looking for whatever sort of magic you want to be doing. I think this is another sort of option, just where you don't really play this to the characters' sort of abilities themselves. I think that works okay. I don't necessarily know you need to go this hard on scales with this faction, though. So I don't know if I would sort of go with that route. So I think that, like, what I've sort of been testing around with is this. This has got a little bit of a bless for our Daibakemono's sorcerers. And it's going to just basically make it so that you can't easily, like, snipe them out with spells. Because they've got that sort of magic resistance there. So if you come in there and you like try to mind burn them or something like that, they'll be able to resist that sort of stuff. If you slay living, life for life, one of them, any of that sort of stuff, it's going to make it a little bit harder to instantly kill these guys. They've already got a decent magic resistance of 16. Boosting that up to like over 20 basically makes it so that they're not going to get killed by any of those sort of spells, making them very, very effective at just sort of resisting magic attacks. Still have to protect them against like elemental stuff, but combine them with like the point buffs that they can put on themselves. Like you can make these guys really, really tough to kill in melee combat. You could load them up with a couple items to make them really resistant against whatever element you're facing off against at the time. And then you can sort of have them like wait in there, and they'll be basically thwacking away at things just completely fine. And I think that that's something that you can really sort of get behind there. The other thing that we took in that sort of build there is recuperation. This means that we're going to be able to sort of recover from our sort of hits there. I did go imprisoned with that build so I could get like the stats I wanted there. So this is, I think, what it is. And I think we could go for like just minor magic resistance and then take like something else, but there's not really anything else to take here. The other thing I could sort of go for is potentially like Arcane Finesse if I was going to be going for stuff that tested other people's resistance a lot with our sacreds, which I don't think we're going to be doing a ton of. So I opted for cold scales with this, just for I thought it was a little bit more thematic. And then we want 3 research points. The reason that I'm going for 3 research points, or 3 magic, is we do have access to Ether Warriors as well as Okamis. And I think we actually had another one as well on the roster that we could summon. But these things have like plus magic attack. Oh yeah, there's an assassin that we also have that can get plus magic skill advantage. So all those things get like plus 3 attack, plus 3 defense, and a bunch of stuff like that in magic scales, which means that we'll have our sort of dominion sort of open to those characters running around and just absolutely mauling things to death, being much more cost efficient as sort of attackers. It also means that we can use these little guys as effective researchers, because they go from 5 research ability up to 8 while being incredibly inexpensive. Them being very, very inexpensive is quite good. By contrast, I would have to use these guys as my primary researchers, which are very, very expensive. They're very resource they're very money expensive, and they're also very upkeep expensive. For some reason, it's in morale, and I have no idea why, but the upkeep on these guys is 108 per year. which is not per turn. Every year is like some other amount, but these guys are only 32, which is way, way, way less. So I could have like 3 of these, or 2 and a bit of these guys for every one of the other ones. If I'm getting 16 from 2 of these guys, 16 for one of these guys, it's a little bit cheaper by actually a decent amount there in the end. Actually, I think it is 3 of the other little guys for one of these. So yeah, we're getting quite a bit more research by doing it that way. We do kind of need to get like lightless lanterns and stuff like that, but if these guys get eaten by horrors, that's really not that big of a deal, honestly speaking. I think we can also recruit these guys in Highlands and Mountains, which means that if I just set things up right, I can start getting researchers out of places without having to build forts, because these guys also come out pretty quickly there. So yeah, like I think this setup is going to be one that's relatively okay as far as that sort of stuff goes. We're going for some luck skills. We're going for a little bit of order skills. You can get some free forts if you do that. I think we actually wanted to go like this. So what this does, like a lot of our units are incredibly resource intensive, so they cost a lot for that. We do want those growth scales for that extra money. And extra growth does scale into additional recruitment points, so having that access is actually quite good for us getting more here. We're getting a little bit of luck because I want those luck events to be happening. And yeah, this is about what we can afford here, even on Imprisoned. I think that works out relatively okay, but I'm not 100% sure if this is the best sort of route to do here. Once we pop our Pretender out as well, we can actually kit this out to be a fairly competent super combatant. The stats on this character don't look amazing, but they're actually not that bad. We'd be able to actually get out there and do some pretty hefty damage when we really need to. And because we've got recuperation, the fact that we've got a thug out there that's relatively strong, relatively decent, becomes actually quite powerful, because we'll be able to sort of avoid taking a whole bunch of afflictions, becoming weaker and weaker and weaker as the game goes by, which I think is quite important. The other thing, we've got the 2 death, not only so that we can get the Ether Warriors, it gives me a little bit of safety in that I can twice born my Pretender, which makes me take a sort of janky, weird form that I don't necessarily want, because I think I lose flying and I think I lose a point of size. But actually, no, this is a guy, I think. So I think I remain the same size. It's different for male and women Pretender for some reason. I don't know why. But the male ones, I think, stay at size 6, and I think the female ones turn to size 5, and I don't know why that is. But regardless, yeah, being able to do it twice born is pretty good. The other thing that we are probably going to need to do is buy our way into Earth with this character a little bit. And the reason I think I need to do that is that I can also get golems late game potentially, because Ether Warriors I would really like to be able to get. They're a little expensive to sort of get. It's 90 Astral Pearls to do that, which we can get because we'll be able to search for this. There's also a bunch of luck events that give us Astral, so it's not that bad. So the other options that I'm sort of thinking of, again, are just completely ignoring Bless and just going pure scales. But I don't necessarily know that my troops would carry me through that all that effectively. So we'll have to sort of see how that kind of goes. Don't really know what the world is going to be like either. So we'll sort of have to see how that looks. Now, with all this sort of like free research that we got, we're going to be going up the research tree fairly quickly. I think that the start for this faction, you want to go down enchantment at least to 4 so you can get access to Toysporn quite quickly. So you can start throwing like your Daibakemonos into combat. And that way, when they get killed, which they probably will, they come back in your capital and they'll be just more powerful versions of themselves, and you can send them back out and keep fighting with them. I don't necessarily think you need to like suicide them into anything early game. I think you can sort of wait until you've got a situation where they're going to die anyway, and then just let them die, and then you sort of twice spawn them, and then they'll be back, and then they'll get better because of recuperation. So one of the reasons I've been taking water or cold scales all the time is because like it lets you cross rivers, and I'm not 100% sure how much that's going to matter in a game set up by somebody, because I think that they're using a different type of map. But basically speaking, there's a couple different ways to go about early game expansion. We don't start with a mountain that we're actually in this time, which is unfortunate. I have to sort of like move one province over to get access to that. Or we could get it through this province or this province. There's lots of provinces with mountains. It's just I didn't start one. Probably want to aim for that throne if I can. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate as far as all that goes. No mercenaries available. So typically speaking, I actually prefer these ones with the armor. I think that they're just a better version of the unit. You can get quite a lot of them, and they'll do fine for early expansion, although you will lose quite a few of them. And I do want to start going with some Ubas, even though like they're way more expensive and they're not as good at research in a lot of ways. It accelerates me through research a bit faster for the early bits, and lets me get out to Enchantment 4 pretty quickly. And yeah, it's something I really want to be able to do there. Just go ahead and profit right away. There's not a ton of really great options for that. But yeah, this is pretty much like a fairly weak surround. So we're actually not that bad off here. I don't mind that too much. Unless I'm not seeing something, which is very, very possible. Typically speaking, I actually think that we want to expose ourselves to as little arrow fire as is possible with this faction. So we're just going to run up as far forward as possible. We're not going to wait at all. This one would be the best for us in some ways, but we'd have a hard time moving from there to get to where we want to go, because we'd have to hope that this river froze, which it probably will, but it might not. So we could start up here, I think, and that would be probably the safest, given all things considered. We got a double death Uba, so I do need another one. What I want is the double... what's it called? Double nature is going to be the one that we want to look for. And it should be able to get this. This shouldn't be too bad. Mind you, I should be moving my scout around, but that's something I just need to work on a bit better. So we got Holy Avenger being cast. I should probably set it so that he's not casting that at all. These cavalry will like do a pretty decent amount of damage to us on the initial charge, but then they'll just dissolve. Because like these guys have got so much attack density with their pikes that they just immediately shred through things that are in front of them. As you can see sort of there, they just wreck things. Even these guys here, like these really crappy ones, they're doing kind of okay. I think we're causing ourselves a lot of friendly fire with these arrows, which is not great. But yeah, the ones with these, like, the armor are just way stronger than the ones without the armor, in my opinion. Yeah, so like that's just a very, very effective trade, being able to take out the cavalry like that. But we do lose 10 of our backend militias, most of which are probably those other ones. We got some curses, we got some death scales here. That already went away because we've got like growth scales to counteract it a bit. But yeah, I'm not crossing back across there. Looks like we're not getting what we want as far as Ubas. So we're going to stick on that grind for a little bit longer. Out of recruitment points, which is fine. Alright, so we're going to head over to here. I'm not 100% sure that I've got enough left in the tank to kill this whole stack here. This is a lot of cavalry we're probably facing off against here. I'm going to move you here. Still no mercenaries. Yeah, so we lost there. We actually lost the general, which is quite strange. We don't usually lose the general. So they've only got 12 guys left. I was saying, like, I didn't think this was a good, actually, idea to do. Like, a certain level of cavalry will just, like, crush you. Alright, so the fact that we lost the general is a pain. I'm going to have to go ahead and get... I'm just going to get 2 of these guys while we can. How much do these guys cost gold-wise? 100. Great. Because they only take like 1 commander point, so we might as well get 2 while we're at it. That was one of those situations where I'm like, I should go back, get more troops, and then go out, but, you know, it's kind of worth stress testing even in situations where you think you know the answer. So the way that we sort of set these guys up is like this. And then we also just have them... The other thing that I think probably happened, I suspect the cavalry actually just got around behind us and just killed our prophet, like by himself there. Alright, so this is going to be a much better stack in a lot of ways. I'm just going to be fine with that. Okay. As you can see, though, we're spending like all of our money on this stuff. Yeah, well, there weren't very many of these guys left, so pretty easy for us to sort of just mulch straight through them. Well, province income being increased is nice. That helps clean up the fact that we have like no money here. Have we gotten an Uba that we want yet? Still no. Okay, great. I was saying that I wanted to get like up to here potentially. I think we can actually just take that. That looks fine. Got another Yuki over here, which is interesting. It's actually not an uncommon name for just random characters for the Japanese nations here. Alright, let's see how taking a throne looks early game. It's a pretty small throne, but we have got a fairly weak army here. Oh, I think I know what's going to end up happening. It looks like they've trapped their fire elemental behind themselves, so it's going to like cause a bunch of problems for their own dudes here. This one looks like it's going to be fine. But yeah, fire elemental gonna be a problem for us. Not going to lie. Fire elemental immediately dies. No problems there. Now the fire elemental is a problem, but we do actually kill it fairly quickly, which is kind of interesting. They did destroy immediately a whole bunch of them, so now we're going to be retreating. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to take this province here. The fire elementals, the flame spells, and the fact they've got a bunch of other elementals is just a bit too much. Well, I did just want to see if I could manage to take that with what we had, and the answer is clearly no. We did survive with the Shutendoji, it looks like, although I think he died on retreat. Interesting. Well, that's unfortunate. Still haven't gotten an Uba with the skills yet, which it's approximately a 1 in 4 chance. So the fact we've gone through 5 and haven't gotten it's not that peculiar, but alright. Let's do the same thing here. The reason that you sort of throw out some of these guys out front here like this in the sparse line formation is because it helps us catch cavalry with a smaller, less valuable group. If they start running because they got wiped by cavalry, it just doesn't matter as much as if a large group has that same problem. So this is clearly not how I'm going to be expanding. Like, I'm going to be taking expansions much more safely because, like I said, I don't think that I can really realistically take that one. I kind of knew I was going to have problems with that one, so same sort of principle there. Very easy take over here, though, for example. I think we take this. I wish I had that Shutendoji back. Like, that would have been... It's kind of annoying to lose that one. Alright, so at this point in time, we start doing a little bit of this. Because we do want a few of these guys. They're much, much, much more resource intensive. So we can spend down all of our resources, basically, is what we're trying to do here. Because we've got the ability to get a whole ton of resources. Have we got a 2 yet? So the reason that we want a 2 of one of these guys is that, or 2 nature, is because we want to be able to site search these places with somebody that's got 2 nature. And all the other ones, we're going to have higher on these guys anyway. So it doesn't matter what I get for the other stats. Like, we're definitely going to have higher death. We're going to usually have one that's got 2 water. So it just doesn't matter as much. Alright, so our dead prophets remains have exited the world there. That's fantastic. So there's heavy cavalry up here again, and like I said, we should actually be able to catch them on the front there with our first lighter group. I'm actually going to try setting these guys to attack cavalry. to make sure that they actually do it instead of letting our general get that. Finally got one. Alright, so I also need to get one of these guys, though. I might as well get two. And we'll go ahead and get... I was going to say we want to get another one of these guys. I'm not sure that this is actually worth it at the stage that we're at here. Okay. So for site searching, I like having a team of... Let's actually see how this goes. Of one of the Ubes and one of the big guys sort of together. Yeah, so like these heavy cavalry should smash into the sort of lighter formation here, and if the lighter formation gets smashed into, it's not gonna matter if they start retreating because their squad gets screwed. Once these guys lose that sort of charge bonus, they become much weaker. So we don't really care that much that they're like that. You can see that first squad broke because they took that hit there. This guy is just capable of shredding through knights pretty okay, but he's not great at it or anything. He has a sleep aura, however, which is really powerful. The reason I use these guys as my generals, though, primarily is that they're capable of leading every type of troop rather than just humans or regular troops. They can lead undead, they can lead monsters, so you can give them much more diverse armies. Whereas if I stick to the Daibakemono commanders or whatever the hell, they can't do that. These guys are also just really good on their own. Like, they're a good unit. Okay, so this formation has gotten kind of weakened. I might want to send them back to get a little bit more troops there. So this guy, we've also just expanded right up to area, which I guess one of the things I need to remember, I need to not expand like this, because this is way too far out. This is way greedier than I would ever realistically be able to get. So I have to keep that in mind. So I'd probably actually do a reset here and just not expand like that. Like, our expansion is like bumpy as hell also, so I need to try and look at this a little bit better. I think there are stronger factions, but this is the one that I'm sort of familiar with. Like, if I wanted a faction that sort of made more sense, I'd probably choose someone like Bandarlog, because they've got really good sacreds that I can get out of multiple places. Or if I wanted to just have a really strong, sort of small number of things coming out, I'd choose something like Vans. Although I don't know if they actually are that strong. I think their units are kind of strong, but I think they're kind of like hampered by the fact that they're so expensive. I don't know if they're cost effective compared to what I'm fielding here. I have done expansions with other types of units as well. The Kappas work okay. I think they're actually pretty good. Especially like cavalry, though, really wrecks them. I think the thing that you do with them in particular is you definitely have like a small number of other guys running in, trying to take out cavalry and tying them up, getting hit by lances and stuff like that, and then you send in the Kappas afterwards. They're also not the best on land. This would be a much stronger start for Shiniyama. The reason is that you've got access to a bonus here. So mountain recruitment, it's 2 points for the weaker ones, and it's 1 point for the stronger ones. So if I wanted to, I could actually just get these guys here, and it'll cost me 5 gold per. So I can go like this, and just keep clicking. And yeah, that's some value of these little guys. Now, these guys are undisciplined, but the fact that I'm getting however the hell many this is, I think that's 75 of these guys in one turn of recruitment is basically a full stack in one turn. Now, admittedly, that's too much because I can't afford my Uba, but let's see how these guys expand, actually. It's not even worth like getting the Armored Fist of God because like I could just get way more of the guys I'm already sort of getting. Alright. I could also be sending out like the Ubas way faster, I think. Alright, so I think the Foul Spawn is going to be one of the easiest things for us to take out here. Okay, so these guys out front as just sort of like a thing to catch enemy flak there, and then we have these guys right behind them. I didn't profit this time, but that's fine. I think against these guys we would probably want to hit like side by side. Actually, against Foulspawn, I think we would want to hit side by side because I don't think that these guys like nothing's like cavalry. It's nothing like that here. I don't think we want to actually be like shooting all that much. I'm not even sure if I want to bring those guys. I think they're just going to cause friendly fire. All right. Well, let's see here. Yeah, we've got run out of gold is the main thing. Ironically, if you're turning like gold into troops, like these guys are actually cheaper because you're spending like way more resources per one of these guys, and way more recruitment points comparatively. And I do think that in a lot of ways these guys probably are about twice as good as one of these guys in terms of like overall cost. Like this is 5, this is like 8, this is actually 7. So you're only paying like 2 more gold to get one of these guys, despite the fact that they're like way more resources, way more recruitment points. Well, let's see how well the guys with the spears and without the other stuff expand here. So Foulspawn I usually find are actually really weak. Oh, this is a lot of other stuff though, but I probably actually should have paid more attention to what I was looking at there. This looks like a small number, but it's like, because they're all jammed in there. There's so many in there. Yeah, just immediately things just dissolve under the huge number of attacks. I think even here, like, I think even against, like, this kind of stack, they're doing pretty well. They keep getting hit by spells, though, and it's a little bit worrisome. I don't actually really 100% know what that spell is. Look at that. And this gigantic Etten over here is just also immediately melting. Well, they got blood mages back there. That's interesting. That's what's causing all these problems. I probably did cause more friendly fire to myself than I did hit enemies with those stupid bows, but... Alright, what do we... Okay, that's actually really impressive. Just the sheer weight of numbers from the Bakemono shows. We actually only lost 12 of them. That's really interesting. Okay. Well, I'm kind of happy with that. We also managed to get an item off of that, but this would not like actually happen in a real game, I don't suspect. That I just... Well, maybe it would. It's not that unusual an item to find. It's not like it's that good an item. Okay. So I think over here we'll probably have similar sort of success. We managed to get the Ubo that we wanted. So we switch over to these guys for a while. Just until I've got enough money. So the thing here is that we're running out of like money, and I do want to be able to get one of these guys pretty soon so I can start site searching. But yeah, I think we're just going to have to be like a little bit more willing to just run in there with like limited site searching sort of thing. Okay. Do I think that this force needs reinforcements here? I think we do one more and try and see what happens here. So yeah, we're gaining a little bit of money now every time. This one, we did win. We had some retreats, which is fine. None to there. I think they ran to here, which is fine. So we got a minus superior resources. That's going to mean that like our resource gain here is absolutely bonkers. Like I said, these guys are great as resource sinks. Anytime you've got like spare resources, just recruit one of these guys and they'll take all those resources for themselves. They're huge as far as that cost goes. And yeah, we're definitely pulling some from there, so. Still a bit short. I don't know, we can just barely afford this guy. Oh yeah, no, he's cheaper than the Diones, so I guess that makes sense. So, probably would want to aim for getting there. I don't necessarily know that I would call that within... No, that is definitely a reasonable thing for me to have, I think, in my borders. I think it would be contested against a real player, and I think also down here would be kind of contested. We'll end turn. So we're going pretty fast through our research here. Like, we're gaining research also relatively quickly, I think. But what I do unfortunately need is another... I'm not even too sure actually what I need right now. Alright, so this is like capped army here basically. He's not a very good leader. It's not... I already started to know these guys are not that strong for leading. I think we try to go from here to like here. Because getting a fort here would be actually really, really strong. There's a bunch of places that I want to be able to expand to here, which is unfortunate. Next turn, I'm actually going to go ahead and try to get a couple of these guys. And then we'll send off our site searching party. Okay, so that went really, really well. Got mist-covered hills, which is nice, but not that important. These guys should have no trouble whatsoever tearing through that stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't get a water 2 on these guys, but we did get a bunch of good stuff. So we're going to start site searching off that. That's fine. I'm not super concerned about going water with this build right now anyway. I don't think that that's exactly what we want to be aiming for here. I think that's kind of our best bet with what we're doing here. We don't have like the best or most efficient site searching with what I'm doing, I don't think, but I'm not sure how efficient your site searching really is supposed to be. It's kind of always hard for me to tell. Alright, so we'll send you guys up this way and we'll see what that looks like. But I don't think that would be within like where I would be expanding to. Like, I think you go for like 2 provinces in every direction. Kind of thing would be like the default. Or at least I think that's roughly where I would say the default line is. Alright, let's start getting... You know what, actually, I'm going to keep these guys home. We'll just throw these guys out front as a kind of sacrificial thing there. Our little site searching party is going to see what they can find. We might swap one of them later, but for now this is okay. So I think we can like claim out to like here pretty easily, and I think even this one is just barely within what I could reasonably claim. I think that's something I could reasonably claim. Yeah, not too much up right now. I've committed myself to trying to join a multiplayer game, and I'm just practicing for that because I have to get my stuff set up here. I think this build works okay because we're getting like a lot of troops and stuff like that. I'm not really seeing like the bless effect because that's not what we're about. So that's fine. Let's try and take a look at what's over there. There's 3 death scales there for some reason. But yeah, like I'm just trying to figure out if my pretender build is okay, if I can get the stuff I need for a game here to play against real people. Playing against real people can be scary. I think over here we keep going for the archers. I just have to be mindful if I have to do weird jank to get archers built. Okay, so that's about the ratio. I probably need to get like another fort up pretty soon here, I think. I would definitely want one over here, but... The Cathiads are actually really good, just standard grunts. Yeah. I kind of wish I could have gotten into a late age game instead of like the early age game like I got. Because I don't know this faction anywhere near as well, basically. Okay, so I think we keep heading this way. I think we leave this for those guys. And I think we are pretty positioned here. I think we want to take this if we can. Alright, we got people already taking some damage here. Let's, yeah, I need to keep researching faster here. Our research slowed down because we sent out that team. I'm actually just going to get a bunch of these guys for a bit. Yeah, I'm not too sure what my opponents are all going to be playing as either, so that's another issue. I have to sort of think about that. Oh, I'm getting attacked already. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, this guy's taking some damage real fast. Jeez. Okay, we're getting to enchantment real fast, though, so let's do that, and then we'll make sure we're getting up to alteration there. Alright, let's get another stack out there. In this instance, we're doing pretty different things with these stacks that have got our archers in them, so... Yeah, all these little Burgmeister guards. These guys are also small. It's weird. They've got a ton of defense skill, but their strength is way lower. Their damage is a lot lower. They're also small-sized. So, like, their stats are weird to me, because they're actually, like, look like they're really, really good. But if you get, like, a lucky hit on one of them, they go down pretty fast. So, it's kind of weird to me that they go down so easily to Bakemono shows. Because on paper, they should be about kind of similar. I guess, like, the real kicker on that one is the Yaris. No, that shouldn't be, because their defense skill's so high. Weird. Alright, well, whatever they be up to. It's like the Battle of the Goblins, basically. Who's got the more goblin-y goblins? This province here, I'm going to just point defense dump. Like, I would like to be doing something else, but unfortunately, I can't build my stupid stuff here because... Let's actually move you guys that way. I'm sort of cornered here doing this nonsense. All right, let's find some good spots to build forts in, like, right now, if I can. Yeah, I don't have any great spots, like, right now. I have to beat these guys first. Push them back, I guess. Okay, so we've retaken that. Fought them in a couple other spots. And they've gotten their asses absolutely handed to them there. They didn't really have much of a defense put up there. Oh, that's where Jotunheim is. I got a bit closer than I thought I did. Fair enough, I guess. That is the point, though, where it would be contended. It would be like you would fight for... I guess this one, actually. This one's probably one tile too close to them. So how far out do you get to, like, default claim as yours? Because this one's, like, within 2 of each of ours, isn't it? No, it's, I guess, within 3 for me. So I guess 2 tiles is all you really get. That's so narrow. On the plus side, I do know that, like, this faction is actually supposed to be one that can, like, really rush people down. It's like one that can just very, very, very strong early game push people. And that is sort of what's happening here. Like, I could get these guys on top of their capital already. I've got illness over here, which is not ideal. I would like it if this guy was not sick. The thing is, if I had my commander, I could actually fix that, but I don't have that yet. Very, very close now to enchant 4, so I could twice born this guy, which would be lovely. All right. The number of Daibakemono that we're getting is super, super good. The Jotun Jarl I'm a little bit worried about there. I think that guy could probably kick our ass a little bit. Because I don't think there's that much left in this army. It's getting pretty sketchy. keep going with it. They keep retreating. Yeah, this one got wiped. They keep sort of retreating their forces and whittling away at our dudes. I need to trust my sort of instincts of being like, I don't think we can... Actually, I think we lost somewhere where I thought we were going to be fine, and I think I won somewhere else. Yeah, we actually did win that one. That's surprising. Lake of Mist down there. It looks like this is the one that we lost. They'll probably be able to retake some of that, but it's not really a huge deal. Grab a couple more of these guys. Not too sure, like, none of these spots are like places I would want to build a fort, really. This probably is one of the closest to it. This one's actually okay. Let's just get a fort there, I guess. Even though I don't really... Actually, no, I was saying that I wanted one there. That was probably fine. Yeah, this army did way better than I thought they were going to. Just gonna like bump the province defense here so that they've got like the ability to defend against some stuff heading towards them. So I do think we're gonna have like this army potentially retaking that, but I think they're gonna be rallying to retake the capital. All we're doing here is making it so that they can't actually retake their capital though, or build anything out of there. Because as long as they can't build anything, like we're basically making them sort of crippled, making them stay that way. Oh, what are you doing here? Just a random guy I found. Why does he have a black steel tower shield if he's a wizard? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so I do think that this setup like works just fine. Like I don't see too many provinces where I'm like, I don't think I can expand into this. Like I have to make sure I've got the right stuff for that. But that's fine. Right? And we're making enough money that I should have been building forts like ages ago, because we have enough money that I could be building tons and tons of forts. Which I think is really, really nice. We can like keep getting bunches and bunches of these guys. The thing is, you can also get these guys out of forts or non-capitals, which is really, really strong. Can twice-born this guy now. So now that this guy's been twice-born and he's already got 2 afflictions, I'm just gonna send him out here and we're just gonna have him like die, which I don't really like doing with these things necessarily. What the hell are you? What even is this? Where did you come from? Alright, well, fair enough, I guess. Alright, let's go ahead and get another one of these stacks ready. Getting some weird stuff in this one. Alright, yeah, Jotunheim attacked us. They did beat us, but like we stopped them from recruiting any new mages for a couple of turns, which is really sort of what we're after with that kind of thing. Stopping them from being able to like recruit mages is something that really, really stops them from being effective for a while. Alright, so you guys head that way. We'll show you what Twiceborn looks like. I might as well have this guy try and like do some stuff, I guess, on the way out there. I don't know what he would do, though. I think he just raises dead or something like that before he dies. So we'll see how he does there. I think he's just going to die pretty quickly, though. You can also check. It's like he's twice-born. You can see that from here. He's got battle fret and weakened just from old age is all that's coming from. Alright. Yeah, Bakamona Sorcerer killed 0 things. Didn't die, though. He just retreated. He's got battle fret, so he's not gonna... Okay, let's move you guys up here. He might try to attack me down that way, which would be fine. Let's actually see what he managed to do before he ran away there. I don't know why it was 0 kills for both sides, but it's kind of annoying that it's just racking up more afflictions. Why is he casting Stone Skin and Quicken Self? Shouldn't he be... Why didn't he cast the spell I told him to? He went off script real fast. Okay, interesting. It's gonna be hard to get this guy killed. Let's do that. That might help. Okay. All right, so this is going to be a very different stack in terms of like how it sort of works there. I do want to start getting some point buff blobs going here, but I haven't been able to sort of do a bunch of the stuff that I want to be. Let's get you guys over here. There we go. So Kinmichi now lives again as a white mage. We can go to commander here. He's over here. He's still sacred, but now that he's got this sort of white mage thing going on, like he's gonna start recovering these because he's still sacred. He's still got recuperation, or he should have. But yeah, he's a lot stronger now. He's got better attack and defense skill. He's got like more durability and stuff like that. He's got a chill aura, which makes it actually quite powerful, which is one of the reasons I've gone for like cold scales. He's got tons of cold resistance off that. He's now an amphibious unit, so he can go in the water. Yeah, this just makes him a much stronger unit. There's a chance that that also boosts his death magic by 1. Didn't do that here, but yeah, twice porting these guys is actually really strong. So, do quite like all of that. Let's go ahead and build a Dwarven Hammer with him. Alright, so gonna move you guys that way. Move you guys that way. And we'll move you guys this way. That's fine. I'm gonna add a little bit of province defense up here. I'm actually gonna add quite a bit. I've been yeah, slacking on building stuff. We're gonna lose a lot of money though, and just a little bit on this construction down here though, so it's fine. Just want to see if we are recovering our stuff there. Okay, so it looks like we managed to win here with our dudes. Our Diabakemonos managed to shoot down some of their stuff. I find a lot of these guys actually get shot down by the Diabakemonos pretty effectively. This big old fight here managed to get through that pretty effectively. The Bakemono shows are still the ones getting like the majority of the kills. They just run straight in there and kill everything. Which is really impressive. And we had an empty province there, so that one just gets taken, that's fine. I think we just move over to here, take this out, and make sure no one else claims that one. Okay, I don't see this guy using or gaining anything there, so I might have screwed that up. I don't think so, though. I'm pretty sure he will eventually recover from these. Oh, I remember why he's not. I don't have recuperation until my Pretender awakens, which is around turn 30-something. Right. Oops, this I let lapse pretty badly. Well, that's unfortunate. Doesn't matter tremendously, though, so we'll be fine. I would like to get another army over this way. I think I can. It's just not a very good one. What we could do at this point is actually have a relatively decent army. Have to cast our Twiceborns over here just in case. Yeah, I can't move out with that army, unfortunately, now that I've done that. Okay, lost quite a lot of Bakemono shows here, but we still managed to take out all their stuff here. Their Longdeads are a lot more powerful than mine are, so Longdead Giants are very strong. Okay. Well, that ends up being relatively fine. Gotten this completely upgraded. That's lovely. And you can actually just recruit a bunch of like mages down here. We're not going to be recruiting our troops here because this is farmland. It's not a mountain province. I could actually just recruit units from here though. Like, that's one of the things that we do have access to, is just like that. I need to make better use of that. I need to use that more often, I think. This is going to be our big spot, though. Palisades up here. Could just recruit these guys. They're actually not that bad. Might want to just go with one of these guys. Very, very inexpensive, and you can use them for a couple of useful things. Okay, so we've sort of built up a nice little blob that we can send off this way. And they should be able to, like, contend against pretty scary armies that they have. Similarly, like, this stack here is doing pretty okay work up here. I think actually we're going to probably get attacked here. I think they're going to counter. Okay, it looks like they did attack us there. And like I thought, we did just basically trounce them. Looks like we had no commanders here or anything like that, so we automatically lose that. Unfortunate. Okay, do I have to actually deal with that? I probably do. I'm obviously like doing this way sloppier than I should be, but okay, let's head there. So now that we've scraped that apart, let's go here actually. Not liking this too much here. I do need to get some more of the little guys here. And we lost our ability to keep recruiting from here. I could potentially, since there's only a Jotunhearst, I could just try to actually get rid of it with these guys. I don't know. I don't think that they would. I don't think that would actually go all that well. I haven't scripted that army that I sent there at all, though. Yeah, this is another empty province they took from me, and another empty province they took from me. I just have a bunch of empty provinces, honestly. Yeah, Jotunhearsts are nasty work. Did manage to kill it, though, so... Some interesting stuff there. You know, these pikes are an interesting item, I think, that I could be using. Okay, that is quite the stack. Did I get pushed back here? I think I might have. No, I moved there. I did move there. Okay. I'm just going to put a commander in here, make sure that we're not defenseless. I could be twice boarding some more of these guys and sending them in after that, but I think we've got some stuff going on here. I would probably want more scripting here, though. So what we probably want here is just have these guys sort of as a holding formation. We don't want them running in there. And we want these guys to be casting like some buff spells first. Not 100% sure what we've got access to, though, that would really work well here. No, Ironskin's not it. What was I? Isn't it Enchant 3? Strength of Giants. I don't have the ability to on these guys. Shoot. Summon Earth Power. Strength of Giants. I think that works. Can never remember what these damn spells are. Alright. And cast spells. This guy's same sort of deal here. Because there's a couple different units I would want to cast that on, so I'm going to try and have it cast twice. Need to get Iron Skin though. Or, not Iron Skin, Legion of Steel. That's what it is. Alright, we'll just throw that in there and we'll see how it does. I don't think that that's enough to make this an easy fight or anything like that though. They might have moved it. Oh, hey, Craig. Been a long time since I talked to you. Let's see here. Nope, that's a different one. They might have moved. I think we might not have actually gotten that big stack to fight. Oh no, that's this one. That is this one. Kind of surprised that you just use your name for your YouTube profile or your Google profile or whatever. Well, either way. I guess I'm not that surprised by it. Alright, so we got double strength of giants here. And then undead. Perfect. Not too much, not too much. Just trying to figure out how to play this game in time so that I can play against other people and not completely embarrass myself. Yeah, just relaxing, having some fun. You still in BC, I think? That's where I heard you were sort of last, but that was a long time ago. Oh, all my skeletons are getting stuck behind all my other stuff. Fantastic. Good work, guys. That's probably not the best attitude online, because there's a lot of things to fear online, but no, yeah, you do you. Absolutely. Yeah, I've never played this game before against like real people, and I'm kind of like, I wonder if I'm gonna like immediately lose. I probably will, but it's supposed to be a noob game, so maybe I won't. This was a lot closer of a fight than I was hoping for. I came back. Okay. Most people I know that sort of like head out to like West Coast prefer it there, so it's yeah, not bad coming back here though. We'll have to get everyone together at some point. I just haven't been leaving like my home at all for like the past 2.5 years or something like that. Oh, this is very janky combat. This is like a fairly small budget game. The reason I like it is that it's way over complex. Okay, well, this seems like this works. Yeah, I think what I'm doing works. That's the important thing. Yeah, because this is way scarier than what I brought on paper. Okay, interesting. So I think I figured out something that's at least functional enough for my purposes, which is all I'm really asking for out of any of this. So I think I might give this a try against real people. Because like figuring out that the scales work was a big part of this, because I don't really know if like it would be really easy for me to try and do this sort of thing and then like find out I can't recruit the right number of troops or something like that. That would be absolutely devastating, basically. I think we can make an attack like that sort of thing pretty easily. I think we could probably actually send out one of these guys. Try and get up to here. Just province defense up to there, just so he doesn't get murdered on the way there. Man, this game is like constantly doing things and I'm not sure how any of the stupid mechanics work. Oh god. Yeah, this is what I was thinking might happen. Let's see. Did I crush them? It looks like I did. Because I have the same scripting that I did last time, so it should work exactly the same way. We lost every single one of these little guys, but these guys got 43 kills. So definitely against giants, I think that we're kind of better off getting these bigger guys. Because they can sort of basically counter giants. This is how that sort of looks. I've got the delay on. I can't actually tell exactly what certain comments are relating to sometimes. That one I'm having trouble remembering the context. But what I was talking about garbage for. Every single one of these guys is going to get massacred. I can kind of see why they did now. They're actually holding up really well, though, all things considered. I think I just shot one of them in the back of the head. That's fine. So anything that makes it here, I think, is just getting completely destroyed, because these guys are really overpowered. And now we just got, like, Raise Undead spam, sort of, like, to block for our archers while they do this. Their legions are steeled, so 31 damage and 15 damage on the bows. Yeah, the Legion of Steel doesn't actually help that much. I think that it being garbage is probably true in certain senses there. It's definitely for, like, weird fringe people, but that's exactly what I am, so, you know. Yeah, to like this kind of game, you have to be in, like, the sort of nerd mindset of looking at spreadsheets. Which I definitely am. Yeah, I think the first time I played this, I was actually describing it's like, you probably shouldn't play this game because the person who wrote it hates you, which I still agree with. I think the person who made this game absolutely hates people. Because a lot of the stuff that they do is designed to make it as counterintuitive as is humanly possible. It's great. I love it. Alright, so that actually works really, really well. You're just saying that because you were bad at Age of Empires in 1985. That game was great. Let's remember, like, all of you guys, like, by the time one of you built one chariot, I had, like, an entire army or something like that, because you guys were doing... I can't even remember what you were doing. I still don't know why they had that loaded on the school computers. Like, that was a weird thing to load. Okay. Yeah, so I think what I'm doing is going to be, like, at least functional against a real person. I want to, like, shuffle around a little bit and just maybe check if there's any way I can get this down, because waiting this long to get your stupid, like, a deity to spawn is kind of atrocious. Like, it's a little bit too much. Oh, we lost a fight up here. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But, I think we just push into that one. Take these guys, push up this way, and threaten their capital again. Be what we do. But I'm going to pop out of this versus AI match. We're going to fiddle with this again. Because the thing I'm thinking here is that I spend a whole ton of time waiting for my deity to spawn. You're disforced. I think You might have been doing that. I think you did that more in Age of Empires 2, though. I remember someone, I can't remember which of you was doing it, but one of us spent a lot of time just blowing up trees with mangonels, and I think you can't do that in, maybe you can do that in 1. I can't remember. No, yeah, no, I think you were doing that for some reason. Yeah, those were weird times. Stranger times, really. Okay, so yeah, if I want to do sort of the same thing here, what would it cost? So, Wake 139 versus... No. Yeah, so it'd be saving over 120. Yeah, no, that sounds about right. That sounds like you guys. Was dimly like I remember when we all started playing StarCraft, and there was that one kid who was like actually relatively decent at it, and then we just all like ran our scouts, or not our scouts, our builders at him at like first moment. And when 5 people are doing that, there's not a lot you can do. That was all very, very stupid of us, but also pretty fun. Let's see. If I can get to Dormant, that would be probably enough here. This is looking kind of viable. I need 3 in this, actually, is what I needed. This gives me no growth. Okay, comparatively, I'd be missing out on a lot. Because, like, 200 extra points gets me, like, a lot of extra stuff here. I don't really need Dominion that high, though. I can get to 4, and that'd be fine. And I can do 2 more of this stuff, but still way past this limit. What about doing that with this? How much would I give up scales-wise to do this? So I'm at minus 219. That's kind of unmanageable. Just a little bit. Ooh, yeah, no, I'd have to negative something. I'd have to find something to negative. Don't think I can actually get this quite where I want it to go without going... Yeah, no. I'd have to drop one of these things. No, I'd have to actually drop the big one, which is the one that I actually need. I wonder if there's one I could do that's actually got... I got to the point where I could beat all of you guys in StarCraft 2, but it took a while. It was definitely easier for me to beat you guys at like Age of Empires. I think like StarCraft is a lot more streamlined. It's a lot more intuitive what you're doing, I think, a lot of the time, because there's only like 2 resources and they spawn like right in front of your base. Whereas I think when we played Age of Empires, I think a lot of you guys tried to build farms, like right off the bat there. But there was like one person in our group, and I'm not naming names just because it's online. I don't know if you would want me to, but he was better at me when we started playing StarCraft 2, and yeah, like he played Terran, I think, and I remember that we ganged up all of us against him, and I think it was like 4 players against him. It was yeah, not really fair, but you know, worked out okay. Yeah, I think the other road that I could go is like one of these things. I don't think that's a good idea though. Could save a little bit by going Jade Emperor, but it doesn't get me the paths I need. I don't need Death necessarily. I just wanted to get the Ether Warriors, but if I'm not getting them, then I can avoid getting some of the other stuff. I think it would be legitimately this guy. But again, it's expensive getting the stuff I want. I'm probably not going to play StarCraft 2 anymore. That's just too hard on my wrists. That and I lost my like Blizzard account somehow, and I can't get it back. Like I probably could somehow. It's just like it's attached to a bunch of email accounts that I don't remember the like anything for. So it's just like I can't remember how to access any of this stuff anymore. So yeah, it's not been great as far as that goes. I would love it if I could get my Blizzard account back, but it's fine. It's not like I'm gonna play like Diablo or anything like that. Man, I need to think of like if there's some dramatically different path I would potentially want to go down with this faction. Like if I wanted to go blood magic. Yeah, well, it's they changed their security and they're like we need you to confirm like the password and stuff like that on your email account. So we sent you like a confirmation thing and I'm like ah shit. And so I go to my email and it's like okay, yeah, we need you to confirm your email because you haven't logged into this email account for 5 years. So we sent you like a text message, and I've got a different phone from that one. So it's like, oh, and yeah, the new Diablo's coming out, but yeah, like their games have kind of not been that great for the last little while. Oh no, I've never done World of Warcraft. I managed to avoid that like the entire time it was out there because it looked like garbage the entire time to me. I know you guys played a little bit of it, and I know like a couple of them played a lot of it, but yeah, no, I literally never played any of it. Like even Final Fantasy 14 looks like better than it, and I still wouldn't really want to play it. It still looks like a like it. You have to do things like have teamwork and coordination skills and communicate with people. That all sounds awful. But yeah, yeah, no, I managed to completely dive out of that craze, which is interesting because like it is legitimately like everyone was playing it for a long time. I don't know. I just don't like MMOs. They're I don't know why. It's the grind. I don't like grind. What do you think about this? This might be one of those cases where I'm trying to like do more than I realistically can. Let's see what like full scales cost me. Or actually, let's do it like this. Because if I go with like one of these things, I don't have to pay for any Dominion. So Isle of Man's like the cheapest. If I'm doing this sort of nonsense, I could easily go imprisoned. Uh, I mean, it's kind of like a cult. It uses some of the same stuff as one. I wouldn't go so far as to actually call it a real cult, though. Like, it's just one of those sorts of games where it's like, it's more like gambling, right? It's more like you sort of hook people in certain elements of like the gameplay and like force people to keep doing it for a million years. Yeah, yeah. Well, I never got into it, so I wouldn't know if it was as bad as like having a real job. Because honestly, if like playing World of Warcraft was my actual paid job, I would totally play it for that purpose. Like that would be fine. That would be. I have no idea if that'd be any good. I have no idea what the gameplay's like because, like I said, I never played it, but it would probably be fine. Okay, so if I wanted to go like completely nuts, this is actually kind of cheaper. The only problem is that I can't move. This would be interesting, but I'd be missing out on some of the stuff that I really want. I think this would be a little bit closer to what I want here. Okay, so I'd have to get golems instead of... This is real close. I forget, did you play a lot of World of Warcraft? I know you played it a little bit. I don't know if you played it a lot. Like, did you do all the, like, animal skins or whatever the hell, like horse armor or whatever the hell? Because I know some other people who like got. I think we both know some people who got like way further into the weeds in that one than some other people. But yeah, I don't think anyone can say that they avoided playing it as hard as I did. I actually did try it. I played it at like one of our friends' houses, like for about 20 minutes, and then I got bored because it immediately starts you off with just like go do repetitive tasks. Like it's the start word of that game. That yeah, was not that interesting to me. Yeah, I don't remember you playing it a ton, but yeah, I remember you played it a little bit, so I knew you know more about it than I do. It's like I think all the sort of like negatives could be kind of excused to the game if it was like at least fun repetitive stuff there. Like I'll play some games that are based like I play Warframe and it's really grindy. But like all I really do in that game is just run around mindlessly shooting stuff because it's kind of like got really good mechanics. Like the actual gunning run and gun stuff in Warframe is actually a lot of fun. So I don't really care about what the story is. Like I don't even know what the hell's going on in it. So yeah, it's kind of like that for me. Okay, I don't think I'd do that. I think I would do this, which is real awkward as hell. But I might even be able to get this going here. I think it could have been fun if it was like really fun combat, but it's just like hit buttons and wait for cooldowns, and like that's such lame combat. Like if they had really good action combat, like it was Devil May Cry sort of stuff there. Yeah, Warframe is not a game I would really recommend you necessarily, but if you just want to run around in circles and shoot stuff in a robot, like that, it's fine. That's all I really do in that game. I don't have any of the good equipment. I don't have like any of the like end game stuff there or whatever. I just run around shooting stuff when I feel like doing mindless violence. Um, and that's fine. You know, sometimes because I don't have Quake or anything like that installed, I would probably play those instead if I wanted to do that. But yeah, like if there was really good combat in World of Warcraft, like killing 20 boars would be fine if it was like Devil May Cry or something like that. But you're killing 20 boars and it's just you hit button, wait for cooldown, you hit other button, wait for cooldown. And it's just like God, this is the worst combat. Warframe those like got like third person over the shoulder like action like really smooth movement for its like gun sword combat sort of stuff there, and that's what really makes it okay. Because otherwise, it would be really really grindy. It would be really repetitive. It would be really really boring. You stuck with five. I'm surprised you didn't jump to six. I still do think that like Civ 5 has got some like things that I like over six, but I do actually like the changes they made. But yeah, I'm surprised you didn't make the jump. But yeah, no, I can kind of actually understand just sticking with one that you know really well because every time they change it, I completely fail to remember how to like do anything effectively. That is kind of the one problem with them constantly changing everything. Oh, that is kind of an annoying amount to have dangling. Oh well. All right, so strictly speaking, if I did this, I would have like literally no reason for any of this crap. I guess reinvigoration twice to get two of that. You don't like the districts. Uh, I don't know. I actually really like the districts, but yeah, it makes it a lot more fiddly. It makes it so you have to plan everything out really, really far in advance, which is annoying if you don't like doing that kind of stuff, which I can understand. Like, if you just want to sort of slam stuff into a town, then 5 is definitely way better. 5 with all its expansions is really, really good. I think 6 with all its expansions is also really, really good. But yeah, if you don't like districts, that's a kind of a breaking point there. At the same time I was playing 5, though, I was also playing, what the hell is it called? Endless Legend, and it's entirely districts. Every building's basically a district, so I was kind of more used to it when 6 came out. Because like by default, that's how you expand your cities, just normally in the Endless series. So yeah, it's something you can get used to, but yeah, like the planning can drive you just absolutely insane. There's people who will like put pins around their entire city and figure out where every single building is going to go. How come we're not playing Civilization 4 when it's still like square grids and like just stacks of catapults? God, I liked Civilization 4. There were so many things in Civilization 4 that I'm glad they got rid of. Like it was great, but also just yeah, they needed. I'm glad they changed everything. Oh man, I haven't gone back to like play 3 in like ever basically. I don't even know if I still have my CD of 3. I only played that like twice or something like that when I was like really little. I can't even remember what the hell you do in 3 actually. That's the oldest one I've played. I kind of want to go back and actually see what Civilization 1 would be like playing. It would probably be just atrocious. Alright, I'm gonna try out complete scales and see what that feels like. Because if we're just not going to have like any magic on our pretender and we're not going to have any access from that. Yeah, you still sort of get a little bit of that. It's almost impossible to like shoot down a fighter jet with like archers, but it was easy in 4 if I recall correctly. Yeah, which was not great. Can't they still do like 0.1% damage in 5 though or something like that? Like I remember you get some retaliation damage from ground troops to air troops. It's just practically nothing. I might be misremembering though. Civilization 1 was pretty cool for the time. Yeah, it would be very cool for the time, I'd imagine. The only problem is like looking at that and being like, oh yeah, this is fun to play with the modern like sensibilities for what UI design is like. Because I don't think that they even like. It sometimes feels as though they don't care about UI in those older games. I wonder if I could even go with like just that. Okay, so this is absolutely atrocious what I'm doing here. Let's do that because it's like one free one. So plus 19%. I'd have to like find out. Well, I bet you could buy it on Good Old Games. I wonder if you'd have to like do some weird jank to make it run at all. Like, because a lot of those really old games, like they don't run properly. It's not brilliant, but like it's not their fault. They're definitely not designed for like modern machines sort of things. Okay, I think the best I can get is ageless with this. So. And I go with that, and I go with a bit more of this stuff. Okay, and let's do that. Sure. Ignia Chan is a really weird random name to run into here. Yeah, emulator for sure, yeah. They usually have like things in Good Old Games versions of games that like forces it to run on modern systems, but I've gotten a couple games like Sim Tower, and it is a bit of a process to make it run. Like forcing Sim Tower to run is a bunch of hoops. I can't even remember how to do it anymore because it's been so long since I booted that up. And that's a much newer game than Civilization 1 was. I wonder if I'd be able to get the recording software to properly record it too. It'd be interesting to try. You must be able to, like, in some way, though. Like, just maybe generic screen capture, I guess. Just have it capture whatever is on screen. I think that would be probably fine. Okay. So I just want to see like how this compares in terms of like how many troops I can get. And the answer is it looks like I can get a hell of a lot more. This looks like a decent amount more of these sort of things there. Yeah, Sim Tower was great, like the original one especially. I don't know why people can't like make a good copy of it, because there have been people who've tried to make like clones of Sim Tower and they're just not as good somehow, which is impressive. But yeah, also depressing. So I did spawn like on a forest, so that does change how this sort of works here a bit. Sim Ant, that game was actually really just way too easy though. Like, have you played that recently? It's super super easy to just like steamroll through Sim Ant. I don't think they balanced it quite correctly. It is actually a fun game though. Like if when you're like a little kid or something like that and you don't know what you're doing, you're just sort of like running around like with your ants and like ah ha ha, it's like ice cream or something like that. I'll pick that up or whatever. Like that's great, but they need a hard mode or something like that. I guess that's well, it's probably actually really against the purpose of that kind of game. Honestly, they probably don't need a hard mode. I take it back. Over here probably. I think there is a mobile version that's a ripoff of SimAnt. It would be a pretty good mobile game, yeah. Um, Antlions. I can't remember what the hell an antlion is, and I don't remember why I can't remember that, because I've seen them. Let me check. Well, apparently the reason I don't have a specific thing in mind is because like there's 2,000 different types of antlions. Perfect. Well, that would explain it. Yeah, I've never been scared of bugs, really. What's the worst that they can do to you other than potentially poison you or swarm over your face and kill you? But, you know, I mean, I'm not afraid of an antlion. Like, if 1,000 antlions started crawling all over me, that would be a different story, though. I would basically be dead immediately. Although, actually, maybe not. Bugs don't sting me. Like even when even when I'm like covered in wasps, I don't get stung for some reason. I don't know why. Yep, that was a thing that happened. If you know what you're doing, though, you can actually kill them pretty easily, though. Why have these guys not run away? There we go. Yeah, they're also pretty easy to like detect. You can see where the hole is going to be, so you don't actually have to worry that much about them. They weren't too tough, but during the early game, you definitely had to avoid them like at all costs, sort of thing. There. Yeah, I think I want to go back, which is weird to have to do that already. I don't know. I'll risk doing this. This is a learning experience of I'm doing something stupid and I know it. Yeah, I think actually the harder things to deal with were just other ant nests was sort of the more difficult component. But even then, like other ant nests were not that difficult to kill. Oh, it looks like we shattered these guys really easily. Okay. I'm surprised. Yeah, I remember like that came as a package. Like you got like Sim Ant and it was like duct taped for some reason to like Sim Farm, and that seems like the least efficient way to like sell a double pack. But I remember that was how they did it when I bought it. And I remember like Sim Farm was the much harder game. Scared of the zombies from Mighty. I didn't play that game. I didn't play Mighty Max. There's a lot of games I didn't play back then because I didn't play very many computer games honestly back then. I mostly played console games. I'm surprised you didn't play more console games. I thought you did. Maybe not actually. Yeah, that one I knew was going to be easy. In terms of the amount of troops that I can get, it's actually not a huge amount more just because we're still like locked behind recruitment point limitations. So I'm not actually gaining a huge amount from this. So I definitely think like having the bless is better. The education games on PC, I do remember that actually. I had a lot of typing games. You would have hated that like typing game that I saw that I thought was really cool. Actually, there's a typing game where you're like shooting zombies, but it's actually kind of a scary typing game. Yeah, yeah. I thought you played more like a. I thought you had an Xbox. Yeah, yeah, Xbox. Well, that went well. Hmm. I feel like this is going about similar to what I was getting before. I don't think I've done substantially better using this combination than I did the other one. So I think that there's not much reason to get those extra couple scales. Although my income is much, much higher, I think, for considering the same amount. Does help me get to some stuff faster. Yeah, I never played Xbox. I never had one, and I still don't really care to. A lot of the big games for that system are just not stuff I really care about. Like I don't care about Halo, for example. Although the music in that game is good. I still actually like the soundtrack for that game. Okay. So by the time I got one of these guys, I've got basically 2 full stacks. This is actually faster. Pokemon Blue, yeah. I think most of us had Blue. I remember someone had both, and I can't remember who that was. I guess my brother had red. Yeah, I think actually there is a difference in stack size that I've got here. I think I am actually getting enough of a larger stack that there's noticeable differences. I'm just gonna go up this way, I think. Yeah, I didn't play very many shooters at all, really, yeah. Okay, so that crushed that, which is kind of interesting. It's nice. Yeah, it's not so much that I hate shooters in principle. It's just a lot of them I thought were kind of a lot of them were boring. I was one of those people who like really cared about story in games, and you know, the story in a lot of shooters is pretty mediocre. Like even ones that people say these are really really good stories, I don't usually find them to be actually that all that good. That's because I'm a snob, so. Yeah, I feel like one of us had both. It could just be that we had both through, like, all of us combined, I guess, probably. But I think a disproportionate number of us had blue. Yeah, no, I remember a very disproportionate number of us had blue. I wonder why that is. None of us wanted red for some reason. Yeah, well. Okay, so I'm slightly wrong here. You get way more money doing things this way. Like, the amount of income that I'm getting comparative is pretty crazy. And I should be doing actually something like this if I'm going this hard on this stuff. Aiming for hills and mountains a lot harder. I could also be even just going like just straight up random commanders from random places, I think. Because like, what's this guy got? I need fine. I guess it has to be a relatively decent commander province. Oh no, like I said, I still listen to the soundtrack for Halo. It does have a legitimately really good soundtrack there. Yeah, I can't take that away from it at all. Um, I do think the story is still pretty bland though. It's pretty generic in a lot of ways. I cannot get a province with good commanders here. Is it just Halo 1 to 3? I thought there were more of them, and I thought there were supposed to be... I thought the newer ones were supposed to be okay. I know they're not supposed to be as good, but I thought they were okay. I guess that's like reviewers, though. Like, at the time, they probably all said everything's okay, so that might be why that is. I probably shouldn't go up there, because I know that that's, like, overextending. That's probably what I should be doing, is getting more just generic scouts or something like that. Oh, here we go. This guy's only got 60. Interesting. I thought the mounted ones had more. All right, that was all pretty easy there. Okay. So this does actually look... I do feel like this is higher for this point in time. The combat in Halo is boring? Or the newer ones, I'm guessing, right? I felt like the shooting was supposed to be like a big strength of those ones. That was supposed to be pretty decent. That wipes out the entire recruitment for these guys. That's interesting. Huh. I didn't know there was a new open world version of Halo. That sounds crazy to me. Like, it just sounds strange that they would even have an open world Halo. Alright, definitely produce there. Well, maybe not, actually. Yeah, probably fine. It's boring in terms of the story being kind of a rehash. Yeah, no, that kind of makes sense. The story's been going on so long that, like, there's no way the original vision hasn't already been finished. Like, it's... At this point, it's gotta be just them sort of, like, trying to milk it, yeah. Infinity. That sort of tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. Oh, we finally lost one. Okay. Probably up here against this Cav. Yeah, Horse Tribe are hard to punch through at these guys. Okay, interesting. Alright, so we got our site searchers that we wanted. Alright. That's about the best we're going to be able to get with that. Alright, well... Why is this so crap? That's why. Super Halo Kart. You know, unironically though, like, wouldn't they be able to make a good space racing game? Like, if they didn't make it a kart one, if it was actually just in space with spaceships and stuff like that, wouldn't that be something people liked? I think it would be. I mean, I wouldn't play it since I'm terrible at racing games, but I'm sure people would. You know, I'm not people. That's the problem, is I'm not people. I'm actually kind of legitimately not entirely sure where like you could take a series like that though at this point in time. It's been so long. It's been going on for so long. It doesn't feel like there could be like, why don't they let that team, like, I wonder, just work on another title? And the answer is obviously because they don't think they can make as much money that way, but still. Wait, these guys can lead 45 dudes? Oh, that's kind of crazy. It's almost as many of these crappy commanders. That's interesting. Okay. No, I'm not contending that I'm good or not. I'm contending that I'm not people. Like, my preferences in video games are so distinctly different from what, you know, the expectation of what good games is from people that, like, I just consider that a completely different thing there. If people are designing games to cater to my taste, they've done something really wrong. Like, what I'm playing right now is perfect evidence of that. Halo football. Are we going to end up with, like, the Halo version of Blitzball? I don't think anyone wants that. And I liked Blitzball. I'm like one of the 3 people alive that liked Blitzball. Yeah, just let it die would probably actually be legitimately the thing, but there's no way they're going to. It's like way too valuable an IP. Sort of keeping in mind that that's an impossibility. It's, you know, something you just have to keep in mind is that they'll never let it die. It's called Infinity for a reason. And it is a shame because like there's a ton of people there that are probably like working really hard on these soulless Halo games that they don't want to make when they could be making like whatever sort of other new game could be the new Halo or whatever. Okay, I have to learn how to spend money much more efficiently in this game. That's a problem I have. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. This is nowhere near spending fast enough. Like, I should have had full setup here so I could get way more. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure that the people making these kinds of games are spending money, though. Or making money. That's the thing. Which, you know, works for me, but because I don't really, you know, care about the profitability of the games I'm playing, but does mean that a lot less incentive for people to do it, unfortunately. But yeah, even if there's a market for a game like this, I don't think it's a very big market. That's definitely not the case, that there's a lot of people playing this sort of game. As is evidenced by the fact that it took me like 2 weeks to get someone to play a multiplayer game of it, and it's going to take a month to do, if not 3 months. Something that you might find interesting to know about this game is that a turn for this playing multiplayer takes 24 hours, and after a certain point... Have I ever played Dwarf Fortress? No, but I do want to. Honestly, I've played a ton of like Dwarf Fortress-like games, is what I've sort of played a lot of. Like RimWorld, and I've played like Song of Six and a bunch of other games like that. So I play a bunch of games that are like Dwarf Fortress, but I have not played actual like Dwarf Fortress. And the only reason I have not played Dwarf Fortress is because like I can't tell what's going on by looking at the screen with the way they've got it set up. So that's the only reason I've not played Dwarf Fortress. I would totally play that though. Yeah. So that is definitely something I would consider playing if they ever did a graphical update so I could tell what's going on. It is. I cannot for the life of me figure out what those little icons represent in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's just completely beyond me. Which is unfortunate, but, you know. Everybody has their things that they can do and things they can't do, and for me, that's the things I can't do. I have not gotten a free commander yet, which is kind of interesting. Oops, that was an accident. I might have seen that, actually. I remember seeing some documentaries pretty recently about... I don't even know if that was that recently, honestly. But I have seen documentaries on Dwarf Fortress and the like development of it and stuff like that. And it is definitely a fascinating game. Like, it is a very strange game. Even in terms of, like, just it coming out at all. That's another game where it's like, clearly the person who made it is not out for, like, the money there. Because I don't know if it, like, costs very much. Oh, the emergent storytelling in those kind of games is, like, amazing. Like, that's the reason you play them, generally speaking. I like them for the challenge because they usually tend to be hard. That's another thing about them, is they tend to be difficult. And that's the thing that I kind of like, honestly. I think I need to just build an endless stream of commanders so I can like build some of the stuff that I need here. Yeah, I think like the main problem with Dwarf Fortress is like I can't parse the characters that they use for their, instead of like having actual like characters or something like that. Like they always have those letters that represent things, and having that in a map configuration is just very difficult for me to parse for some reason. A lot of people seem to be okay with that. I can't read it though. I have a type of illiteracy for that kind of game that makes it so that's hard. If it's arranged in like graphical form, where it's like here's a bunch of numbers that represent like locations, and then have like a bunch of just other things going on that represent the units in spreadsheet form. I can read spreadsheets, but yeah, no, I did remember that. Yeah, that must be the same one that I did see. The sort of weird stories that happened of like just even the development of that game, because the coding for that is so strange. Yeah, I do like those kinds of games though, because I do play things like RimWorld, or I don't play RimWorld right now, but I do like those kinds of games. Yeah, RimWorld went a bit off the rails for me because they keep doing things that make the game like much less playable. If I recall correctly, they also made some like weird glitch where like animals were drinking all the alcohol or something like that. Just a lot of weird shit happens in that game. Normally, this would be a really great province to take, which is nice to have, but it really means nothing for me here. But that actually might be the same thing about them drinking the alcohol. I don't remember if that was the same one, because I don't remember that one being tied to eyelids. It could have been though. The programming in that game is very jank. Yeah, there are actually mods to that game though that would make it so I would play it. The ones that they have like make it so there's a real map with like real sprites, and that would make it playable for me. That's the thing. Because otherwise, I cannot tell what's going on at all. Like not even a little bit. Okay, I need to be just producing way more of these sort of things. Yeah, I do think that there are spiritual successors to that are not explicitly just Dwarf Fortress, that are kind of similar and kind of get into the same sort of spirit of things that are also quite good. There's also some that are a little bit more chill, like Banished. I really liked, but definitely a lot less weird storytelling in Banished because it's a little bit more sedate, a little bit more like grounded, and definitely a little less sim heavy. But yeah, those sort of games are a lot of fun, actually. Oh god, Oxygen Not Included, I think, is also kind of in the same sort of vein as like those games, in my opinion. And that one's also a really good one. Just gonna get this. I think if you like Dwarf Fortress, you might like Oxygen Not Included, or watching it at the very least, because it's got a lot going on for it that's pretty similar. Wow, those troglodytes kicked my ass. It's like lots of weird zany interactions that cause like your dudes to just go off the rails a little bit. It's a little bit more playable though. A lot of my guys are getting killed here. I'm surprised. These things are usually trash. These things are trash. I'm looking at these stats here. They are trash. Trample, that's why. Okay. It's a lawnmower versus a steamroller. Is that the troglodyte lord or regular one? We killed the lord. Madness is what you want in games sometimes. Sometimes. Do you make it out first? Hopefully none of my guys retreated. Yeah, none of my guys made it off the map. Perfect. Bronze income plus 20. I've always wondered, is like that permanence? I've never been able to figure that out. It feels like it is. Okay, Palisades. Oh, these guys are all dying here. These guys have to stay here, at least for now. All right, I finally got that infrastructure bill passed, and now I'm actually building goddamn infrastructure, which I should have been doing ages ago, but whatever. Let's keep stacking these guys with troops here too. Sending them forth. Yeah, I think what I almost would like out of one of those kinds of games is like some kind of weird like urban environment one where you're trying to like build up in a more contemporary setting. Because it's almost always two things. It's either fantasy or it's science fiction. That's all you ever get for those sort of kind of games. No, there probably are ones that are sort of more contemporary, I guess. I just can't think of what they would be off the top of my head here. Okay, that worked. That worked. Okay, so if a real person attacked like this, it would probably be just a sign of like some sort of insanity off of them, but we'll just sort of take advantage of that with the AI doing whatever it's doing here. Yeah. So probably just build tons of these guys. At the very least until we get a 3D construction one so I can forge like hammers. Because those are important, I guess. And this would be kind of like where I would say that this would be just due to luck, because these guys are not attacking me because they're from a water nation. They can't really contest against me on land. Not really, anyway. Well, in any event, I think I'm having trouble determining if I really think that this is stronger than what I had before by much, or if it's just a little bit. This feels pretty close, but like it is nice having a lot more income and a lot more in the treasury. Like Big Sims? No, like imagine sort of like a Dwarf Fortress thing, but you're sort of like forced to build a more modern sort of style of city. The only reason I think that that doesn't work is because like we don't really mine for stuff to build like houses anymore. Like how would you even set up the supply chains to start building a modern city, I guess? Like that's sort of the big problem, I guess, with that. Because it works with zany sci-fi stuff, I guess, as well, but getting a Dwarf Fortress where you end up with like a modern looking city would be probably really hard. Because SimCity's not really like Dwarf Fortress. It's not really the same concept, I don't think. At least in my opinion. I think they're pretty different. And I don't think you would have to like go too high in population either, because a lot of those games usually you cap out at fairly low populations as well. I just don't think it's too possible to get like too many people involved in that kind of thing. I'm just gonna click like that. Yeah, I think it would be actually harder for that kind of city building. It's one of the things that I just realized, but yeah, that's got to be why they're all like set in space, or why they're all set in like that kind of stuff. You'd have to do some sort of like weird comedy take on like how modern buildings get worked. Like you send in like interns to mine stuff or something like that. Send interns into the drywall mines. That's what we need from this game. At that point, it's basically just like a reskin of one of the more like medieval style ones anyway. But like still, the hell are these guys? Yeah, but face it, you probably aren't the sort of person who would play. I don't think you would play Dwarf Fortress in all honesty, if I'm totally honest with you, because it is basically that. It is basically like you have to go in there and you have to mine resources until you get the thing you need for building stuff. It takes a million years to get anything done. Dwarf Fortress? Well, that's fair. You should then. It is definitely supposed to be a really good game, but yeah, just have not personally been able to. The real thing with that is like I have to be able to mod it so that it's like in a playable state, basically. Like that's really all there is to it. But I am not good at modding or dealing with mods. He'd get bored fast, yeah. Oh shit. Okay, well our dude just randomly ate an arrow to the chest. That's fun. It's one of the games where I think the real thing about it is that you end up with really good stories at the end of it, just because the way that sort of plays out. I think that that's definitely a major part of it. But the actual playing itself can get a little bit tedious, yeah, definitely. A lot of the games I do play are kind of like that, but at the same time, I don't mind playing them. Like, I've never really been bothered by that. It's because I'm like a million years old on the inside, so I just like am okay with very slow, sedate sort of experiences. Why do I have like all these guys sitting in here? Why have I not like adjusted my research in a million years? Oh well. It's kind of like a lot of the sort of very sort of limited graphics games. You can end up with a lot more crazy stuff happening because I think you have to sort of fill in the gaps. So like good storytellers will be able to like elaborate on what's happening in a way that's not strictly in the game, but is not in the game kind of thing, you know? So you end up with like really, really good storytellers being able to tell really elaborate and really fun stories about those kinds of games. So probably for D&D players, which I guess I do play D&D, so that is a thing. Although, admittedly, I don't play like I can't make normal D&D campaigns. I've found that out about myself. I'm just institutionally incapable of making a normal D&D campaign. The one that I'm currently like sort of doing is a filler one where it's like if none of the normal DMs show up, then I DM, and like the game is that the players are tax collectors, collecting taxes from adventurers. And yeah, I don't know why I can't just run a normal goddamn campaign like a regular person. Would probably be like, you know, just one of those moments where I could just be normal, but I won't. Yeah, I'm still rocking D&D. Yep. And not only am I still rocking D&D, I'm like the only holdout that I know that's still playing like the older editions too, which I probably should get over, but like I just find them more interesting, honestly, than the newer editions. And I probably still will after like a lot longer. Like the newer editions I think are actually really great. I think that they're a great way for people who haven't played D&D before to like get into D&D. Yeah, tax collectors. So like they're in a city, like there's taverns where there's like shifty people in the corner of the building that are like looking for like adventurers to do whatever with. There's like tons of like people who need like help. There's intrigue and stuff like that, and just adventurers everywhere. And the characters' jobs is to go out there and collect taxes from the adventurers. So they'll go up to a group of adventurers and be like, "Hey, you like owe the government $500," and hope that they don't get murdered. Like, and that's the premise of what I'm running right now, which is I don't know why, but that's what I'm running. All right, where was that? That was up here. Okay. Melvin the Petty, yeah. So far, because it's like very early on into it, it's usually people who are relatively responsible and who are relatively willing to either pay their taxes or evade taxes in a more legal way than murder the tax collectors. You know, just because low levels is like that. But part of me wishes I knew how to like just run a normal ass campaign. One of these days I'll figure it out. If I actually like no recruitment points here, what I should actually be doing is this. But yeah, like everyone's immediate response when I described it as like, well, you'd be collecting taxes from people who are, you know, adventurers. Just imagine that you're playing an adventurer and someone asked you to pay your taxes. And everyone in my group was just like, well, we would just murder that person. Really goes to show like what your average adventurer mindset is in this sort of game. No one wants to pay their taxes, especially not adventurers. The hell? Oh, there's a fort here. Interesting. Just randomly found it. That's actually a really good place for one too. Actually, the last group that they did collect taxes from was basically money laundering, yeah. They had a bunch of front businesses that were shuffling money around so that they could avoid paying taxes. It was basically the gist of what they were dealing with. There were a group of people who were very careful to not explicitly break any laws, but yeah, that was basically how that went. Well, the thing is, I actually opted to like make it sort of that pseudo-realistic thing of like all the tax collectors are permanently level 1. Like they're tax collectors, you know. They're not supposed to be able to go out there and fight adventurers. So any sort of fight where people would want to stab the tax collectors instead of paying their taxes, yeah, they actually would just get stabbed. Half the party made sure that their character is a specialist at running away, which is probably a good choice. Oh shit, that is not ideal. But yeah, like I cannot run normal campaigns where people do normal adventure things. It's just not my DNA, man. I don't know why. One of these days. One of these days I'll make one where people are just normal adventurers doing normal adventurer stuff. Not today, but you know, one of these days. I feel like tax collectors, yeah, no, they explicitly did, if I recall correctly. I think they did get murdered a disproportionate amount of the time. But I think they also not only got like attacked a lot. I think they also had quite a lot of bodyguards though back then. Like I think they were allowed to just have a lot more people who roughed other people up if they wanted to. So I think it was kind of a give and take in that sort of situation there. I don't think it was all one-sided. Oh, it really depended, like, on the era and, like, the place and stuff like that. The history on tax collecting is probably pretty interesting, but I don't know the details of it either, just because I'm pretty sure it's, like, very different in very different places, in all the different places. So, I couldn't really, like, consistently say or anything like that. Okay, what am I even doing here? Yeah, I would kind of hate being like a tax collector in a place though where they couldn't afford like good bodyguards for you or something like that. That would be kind of scary. Certainly wouldn't be happy about that job. Okay, I think I'm gonna get my ass kicked over here because I've got like a bunch of stuff that's moved on to me, but yeah, it would be all on sort of behalf of the king, so they'd have that happen. But even though it was on behalf of the king, I do know there was a bunch of civil wars that were based on that sort of stuff, though. Like I think a bunch of the English civil wars were the nobility being like, we don't want to pay taxes, so they just like fought the king. Oh, we actually lost that one. Interesting. Can't get across there though, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like legal to murder somebody for not paying their taxes back then or something like that. Probably anyway. Guess we tried to get there, stop them from murdering us too hard. This place can't recruit because it's on like Badlands and stuff like that. Crap. Alright. Well, either way, I think I've sort of figured this out, even though I'm really distracted. But that's fine. I don't mind that at all. Well, the thing about like this actually, I missed one of your messages that you'd absolutely play this. Like, it is one of those ones where it's like such a weird thing that people have never seen before. That like a lot of people were actually pretty okay with like the concept and playing it. It's just such a weird thing to play. Playing one of the NPCs basically that like hassle and like bother the player characters and inconvenience their day a little bit is just not something that you really do in D&D very often. Which, yeah, it sort of sounded interesting to a lot of people. But still, one of these days I will make a normal D&D adventure campaign where people do normal things. That's just, you know, it's on the list. I'll do it one day. Oh, that's 110 troops. Let's not do that. Okay. Probably take back a bunch of troops here. Wonder if I could get any mercenaries. I could. Although, admittedly, I'm also getting close to the point where I probably need to go, but not quite yet. Yeah, I think I've basically figured out what I want from this run, actually. I would definitely go a lot slower and pay more attention to like my research and items and thugging and stuff like that, but all that's sort of besides the point. Okay, so I definitely think that like having it set up that way was helpful. I definitely don't need an Awake Expander Pretender. That's not something I need here. Yeah, no, I think the one that I've sort of set up there, I'm probably gonna just use, even though I don't necessarily know if it's optimal or anything like that. But Yeah, I think that's about the limit of what I can think of here. What my brain power is capable of getting. This would be like kind of easier if I was playing a different faction. It's just I don't know how to play any of the other factions. If I was playing one of the factions that had like a decent sacred unit or good sacred units all around, that would be like if I was playing these guys, I think it'd be a lot easier to build a pretender because they're a little bit more straightforward, I think. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. These guys seem like they're really tough, though. They're really expensive, however. I can't remember. Do I have you on Steam? I'm trying to remember if I've added you on Steam. I don't think I have. Well, maybe I have. I've got a gigantic list of people around here. Well, I know that you could ask one of the other guys, and like they'd be able to like tell you how to add me on there. But yeah, you should see if we can all get together at some point in time. That'd be the only problem is I've got really weird days. Like I'm streaming right now because like Wednesday is my only day off. I work on like weekends and stuff like that, so it's yeah, not exactly easy for me to get together with other people, honestly. Yeah, I don't see you on here, but I also don't remember if you would have some sort of weird name on here, honestly, either. I don't think you would. Yeah, that's a pretty consistent way to reach me is through there, and I know that you would be able to go through the other guys to get my Steam account access, stuff like that. So if you wanted to do that, that might be a good way to get in touch. Because I certainly don't really want to put out like any of my phone number or something like that through a through a YouTube stream. That seems like a bad idea. But yeah, no, like if you're back in town, we should all get together at some point in time. Depending on how weird like COVID rates are. But hell's this? Oh, this is feels likely to be you. I don't know. Yep, nope. Got the message. It is you. All right, let's. Oh yeah, so I guess you were on my friends list. It's just been apparently quite a long time since you were on there. But yeah, as far as my stream goes for today, like I can't actually think of any way that I can improve on what I'm doing, which is a problem because I don't think what I'm doing is that smart. Oh no, I can tell it's you. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to double check. There's enough delay on the stream that it's sort of saying some weird stuff. Um, but yeah, like I think I might end the stream roughly now because I do have to submit my dude for this game for the multiplayer. I won't be doing like the multiplayer on stream for obvious reasons of like I said, multiplayer in this game is you submit your turn once every 24 hours, and then sort of everyone sort of sends in whatever it is they're doing for the turn. And then like the person who's got the control over whatever the hell sort of runs it and sends it back and sort of thing. The multiplayer for this game is incredibly jank. It's like playing chess over mail carrier, which is strange, but that is how this runs. Um, so yeah, hopefully that's going to be something I'm capable of doing relatively okay. Yeah, no, thanks for coming around. It's been a long time since I've heard from you at all. Yeah, but I'm gonna try and figure this out. By next week, I'll be playing something else because like I won't have any time to do any research for next for this game going forward because I'll be already in the game. It'll be too late. I'll be committed. So there won't be any point in me like putting this game up on stream anymore. for quite a while. But maybe I'll try and do some sort of thing showing like the turns of this game or something like that. I have no idea how that would really work. But in any event, yeah, thanks for joining me for the stream. Hope to see you guys all next time.